Hi everyone, it's Agnieszka from 5-Minute Language. Welcome to my channel. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and give this video a thumbs up. So on 5-Minute Language, I share a lot of advice about learning foreign languages, and I also share advice with you on learning English. I learned English by myself, and I really want to encourage everyone to follow their dream and learn English to fluency. And I hope that some of my tips will help you achieve your goal. So today's video is about how to stop translating in your head when speaking English. So often when we speak a foreign language, when you're trying to speak English, you will be thinking in your head in your native language, and then you will be trying to translate that into English, which makes the speaking process quite slow. And also it doesn't really encourage fluency. So I'm going to give you a few tips for how you can stop translating in your head. And obviously it's not going to be a solution that will work overnight. It's something that you will need to apply over and over and over again. And over time, you will see the difference. So the first tip is about learning everything in English. So when you're studying English, you want to make sure that you are just using English as much as possible. So for example, instead of learning a new word and translating that into your native language straight away using a dictionary, try using a monolingual dictionary first. So a monolingual dictionary is a dictionary that gives you the English word and then the translation in English. So there's a little explanation of what the word means. When you do that, you will avoid automatically translating the word into your native language, and also you will understand the meaning without actually knowing necessarily what the word is in your native language. So you will understand the concept without knowing the equivalent in your native language first. So try to do that as much as possible. If you check the definition of the word and you still don't understand what it means, then obviously, by all means, check it in your dictionary to see what it means in your native language. But that should be your last resort. So the first thing you do should always be to look up the word in a monolingual dictionary. Once you know what the word means, so you've checked the definition of it, try to find some examples of sentences that use this word, and also examples of phrases and collocations, and maybe also idioms. That way you will see how this word actually works in practice. So it will allow you to see it not just as an individual word, but as something that serves a purpose within a sentence. So I always encourage people to do that. Try to find as many examples as possible. You can do that in many different dictionaries online. And write that down in a vocabulary notebook. I definitely encourage you to write it down by hand, because that can help you with memorizing the word and also learning about how it works in context. And then try to come up with your own sentences as well. Say them out loud, read out the examples out loud to practice saying the word and kind of solidify it in your memory. Okay, the next one is a skill that I really encourage you to develop. So it's basically about describing your reality in a way that uses simple language rather than necessarily trying to find very complex words that accurately describe your reality. So let me simplify this. When you want to say kettle, but you don't know the word kettle in English, you can say something like a dish that we use to boil water. If you don't know the word boil, then you can say a dish that we use to make water hot. And I've used very, very simple words to describe this concept. If somebody doesn't know the word kettle and they want to describe it that way, the person they're talking to will actually know that they're talking about a kettle. Let me give you another example. If you don't know the word toothbrush, you can say the thing you use to clean your teeth. And the person you're talking to will instantly know what you're talking about. So I would really encourage you to just practice the skill of describing words. Even if you know the word, try to describe it using very simple language. And what it does is basically it encourages you to develop this habit of always doing it. So when you're talking to somebody and you don't know the right word, you will automatically begin to describe it using simpler language. And what it does is it basically encourages you to keep talking. So rather than just being stuck in your head and trying to find the exact translation from your native language, you will be more fluent because you will be able to describe concepts without knowing the specific vocabulary. So the third tip I've got for you is doing a lot of reading. And reading is something that when I talk to language learners, I always say you should spend probably 70% of your time reading. So when you're learning new vocabulary, you will be reading it in context, you will look at sentences. Try to read as much as you can. If you're less advanced, you can try reading children's books or short stories, or you can read simplified stories or anything that you will find online. If you're more advanced, you can read real stuff like news stories, magazines, novels. So when you do a lot of reading, you basically learn about how words work in context. So that's, again, going back to my first tip, learning vocabulary in context. This is all about amplifying the effect of that. So seeing a lot of words in context over and over again, familiarizing yourself with how the language works in practice. And the more you do it, the more you will realize that you are assimilating different phrases, collocations, idioms, expressions, and you will have less of a need to translate when you're speaking English. So just to recap, the first tip was about learning everything in English. So rather than translating into your native language, looking things up in a monolingual dictionary, writing down lots of examples, making up your own examples, saying those sentences out loud to practice them. Then the second tip was about trying to describe things in simple language instead of looking for accurate translations. And then the third one is about reading. So reading extensively as much as you can. The majority of the time you're studying English, do some reading. So I hope these 3 tips will help you with your English, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!